What's up guys, my name is Brandon and welcome back to the 4th episode of the best iOS 10 to 10.2 jailbreak tweaks. So in the first 3 episodes we took a look at 95 awesome tweaks, and in this video we're taking a look at 31 more awesome tweaks for your iOS 10 device. And as usual I will include a list of all the tweaks, the sources, the theme that I'm using, the wallpaper, everything you need to know will be down in the description below. And if you find yourself installing any of the tweaks I mentioned in this video, I'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. Alright, let's go and get into it. The first tweak is called message heads, and as you can see here, when I get a text message you see a bubble pop up right there, a message head on my springboard. And then you can basically just click on this and drag it around the springboard, and you also have the X down here if you wanted to get rid of it. But if you go ahead and click on it, you can see that it pops up right here, and you can quick reply straight from in here. So if I wanted to send something back, I can just go ahead and press that and send it straight from that message head. Go ahead and click on it again, then it reappears back on your springboard right there, and you can move it around just like that. It's pretty similar to the Facebook Messenger message heads. The next tweak is called Memento, and this just gives you extra options when you take a screenshot on your device. So if I go ahead and take a screenshot right now, you can see we have this prompt here to save to photos, copy to clipboard, or upload to Imager, or share. And if I go ahead and click on share, you can see that I can share it through an iMessage, mail, add to notes, Twitter, save. We can do all that stuff just from this menu, and it makes it a lot easier so you don't have to go into another application to save this photo or send a photo or anything like that. Makes it really easy. Next up is spin, and this completely redesigns the now playing view on your lock screen. So as you can see here on the lock screen, I'm playing a song from Future here, and you can see we have this circular shape right here for the music. We can see the scrubber going around in that same circular shape, and it just looks really, really clean. So spin does have some bugs right now. The scrubbing doesn't work fully, and it also does conflict with lock HTML, so just be aware of that. And I also found a way to hide the clock here. So basically if you get a notification, and if you swipe on that notification and hit clear, it does hide the clock there if you do have lock HTML installed. Next up is Spring Plus, and this is a Springtomize alternative that basically lets you change a ton of things on your device. So as you can see here, we have lock screen. We can go in and disable certain elements and hide certain elements of the lock screen. We can do the same with the status bar, control center, notifications, app switcher, system wide, and system apps. So you can see in here for app switcher, you can see in here for system wide, all these different settings. It's really just a tweak you need to install and play around with and look at all the settings for yourself, but it is a very powerful tweak. And again, it's just an alternative to Springtomize 3 before that does get updated for iOS 10. Next up is CC Selector, and this allows you to select one of the previous now playing applications by simply tapping and holding on the control center anywhere, and you can see we have music, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Those are the last 3 apps that were playing music or video on my device. And if we click on, say, SoundCloud, it will take us straight to SoundCloud where we were just playing a song. Next up is Notify Music, and this simply adds a notification to the status bar when a new song starts playing. So as you can see, I just switched songs, and take a look up in the status bar, you can see we now have a notification for when a new song starts playing. This is a really handy tweak because sometimes I wonder what song is playing and I don't want to have to swipe up from the control center or anything like that. This just makes it simple and easy to see what the song is that's now playing. Next up is Tiny Bar, and if you notice how small that bar is, that is thanks to Tiny Bar. So let's go ahead and do it again. You can see up there that the bar that appears there in the status bar is very small, and that's thanks to Tiny Bar. It makes all your notifications up in the status bar really small and very clean looking. Just make sure to get Tiny Bar from the custom repo down in the description below. Don't just search Tiny Bar on Cydia and install the one there. That one does not work. Make sure to use the one on the custom repo, which is down in the description below. Next up is Tiny Siri, and this makes Siri very small up in the top near the status bar. As you can see, it's a very small bar right there, and it doesn't take up the full screen. It's not near as intrusive, and it's just really, really clean and elegant looking. What is Siri talking about? Siri small up anytime. You're the status bar. Is the C is a very... And her response was, who, me? Next up is Lock Glyph X, and this brings the Apple Pay animation to your lock screen. So basically when you put in your Touch ID here, you can see it brings up the check mark right there, just like the Apple Pay animation. It's really cool and gives your lock screen a really, really cool look, very unique look. I do just want to mention that this is still in beta, so just be aware of that. Next up is Clear on Open, and this just clears the text field here on the Spotlight search every time you open it up. So if we go ahead and type in something like that, and then hit cancel, and then we go into it again, you can see it's clear up there now. We don't have to backspace on anything. This is just a very simple and handy tweak that just saves you some time so you don't have to backspace every time you want to search for something new inside of Spotlight. Next up is Battery Status Bar, and I've had a ton of questions on this, so I'm finally glad to be covering this. So as you can see up at the top there, we have that little orange bar right now, and it's actually orange because I am low on battery, but it's usually green if you're full on battery, and then it goes down to red, yellow and red the lower you get in battery. But that's basically just your battery indicator, and it looks absolutely amazing, really clean, especially if you hide your status bar there. Next up is Pickpocket 2, and this is an anti-theft application that is chock full of advanced features. So I don't want to be here forever showing you every single feature because like I said, there are a ton of features, but one of my favorite features is the fake shutdown feature. So if you go into shutdown options here and then go to fake shutdown options, you see here I have allow real shutdown disabled. That means that you cannot even shut down the device at all. The only way to shut down the device is through a hard reset. And the thing about fake shutdown is when you do a hard reset on the device, it actually fakes it. So after 4 seconds, it will fake a hard reset. So if anybody stole your phone and they tried to turn it off with the hard reset, if they weren't really an advanced user and didn't understand that it took a while for the hard reset to actually take effect, after 4 seconds, the screen will turn black and you can't turn anything on. You can't do anything without a real hard reset. So the person that stole your phone is going to think that the phone is actually shut down. Meanwhile, in the background, it's actually sending you an email and a screenshot of the front and back cameras of the phone so you can see who stole your phone. As you can see down here, we have on fake shutdown, save front pic, save rear pic, same with at each wrong password attempt, and on fake shutdown. So this is by far one of the best features on this tweak, and it's a very unique feature to have on any anti-theft application. Another cool feature is the lock screen information feature, which basically allows you to, if you enable it right here, on the lock screen, it'll show your name, your city, and the number to call if your phone does get stolen. And not even stolen, if it just gets found by somebody, they can pick this up and see, oh, this is whose phone it is. I need to call them and let them know their phone is lost. It's a really cool application. Like I said, there are a ton of features that I can't even cover in this video. Next up is alarm volume. This allows you to set a permanent volume for alarms. Even if you go into like silent mode, or if you turn your volume down globally on your phone, the volume for the alarms will stay the same forever. So this is a really handy tweak because I know sometimes you may put your phone in silent mode or have your volume turned all the way down, and then when your alarm goes off, you can't even hear it. So this is a great tweak for combating that problem. You also have options here to fade in the volume, enable on silent, and enable on ring as well. Next up is sleeper, and this allows you to set a custom snooze time when you set a new alarm in your clock application. So as you can see here, for snooze time, we could set it for we can set a 3-hour and 9-minute snooze if we wanted to. You would have to be the laziest person of all time to do that, but it's doable. You can also set a custom skip time down here as well. So this is very handy, especially if you use the alarm clock application a lot like I do. Next up is Edge, and this brings the Galaxy S7 Edge menu to iOS. So when you swipe over from the right of the screen, you get this new menu right here. We have the Recents Edge, and if we swipe over, we get the App Edge, and we also have the Tasks Edge right here, and all of these are customizable. So if we go ahead and tap the Add Task button right there, you can see we can add a new task. All these things right here. You can have camera for Instagram. You can have search for YouTube. Let's do search for YouTube. And as you can see, it adds it right there. And if we swipe back to the App Edge, you can basically just add a new application in there just this easily. No need for respringing or anything like that. It's really, really cool and just another great way to multitask on your device. The only thing that's kind of annoying with Edge is that you can sometimes accidentally enable it. So say I'm trying to go to the next page of my Springboard, I may accidentally pull out the Edge menu instead of actually switching pages. And you can also do it in Safari and things like that as well. So it can get annoying, sometimes if you accidentally enable it, but it's still a really great tweak. Next up is Safari tools. This is like 10 tweaks packed into one tweak, and it makes the experience browsing on Safari a lot better. So as you can see, we have the full screen experience. We don't have a status bar or anything like that. And then when we start scrolling down, you can see even the address bar and the tabs and everything on the bottom disappear for a great experience. And like I said, this just combines a lot of the Safari tweaks, especially ones I've covered in previous videos, all into one tweak. It's really a must-have if you find yourself browsing on Safari at all on your device. Next up is Data Meter, and this adds a custom widget to your widget section here that tracks your usage, your data usage, and it basically shows you how much is remaining in a certain period of time. So if you only get like 3 gigs, 5 gigs, or even 10 gigs of data a month, you can basically just put that value in the settings into here, and it will show you how much you've used and how much is remaining for that certain period of time. Really convenient, especially if you're on a data plan and you don't want to go over that data limit. Next up is Tap Tap Folder, and this is a very simple tweak that just allows you to double tap on a folder to launch the first application inside of that folder. So as you can see, when I double tap that, it automatically brought up files up for me. Next up is CC Background. This allows you to have a custom background for your control center, and this can look really good if you have like a blurred image on there, something that really just matches with the background of your Springboard's wallpaper. And while we're here, you may have noticed the blurred section above the control center, and that is thanks to the next tweak called System Apereo. All it does is just blur the section above the control center for a really clean look. Next up is Trans Spotlight, and this just makes the Spotlight search bar completely transparent and really blend in with the background. This is just another one of those very small simplistic tweaks that won't make a big difference to a lot of people, but for OCD people like me, it's a great addition. Next up is adaptive keyboard. This makes the keyboard adapt to the application's dominant color. So as you can see here, we're in Notes, and the dominant color for Notes is yellow. So as you can see here, the Notes, or the keyboard rather, is that yellowish brownish color that is the dominant color of Notes. And in the Messages application, we have the green keyboard, since green is the dominant color for the stock Messages app icon. That's the dominant color in the icon. Really cool way to spice up your device. Next up is bar fade, and this crossfades the status bar when you go into applications. So if I go into an application here, you can see that the status bar just fades out and completely disappears, and now we don't have a status bar. And if we go into the settings here, you can see you have all these options here for bar fade. You can fade on lock screen, fade on home screen, fade on applications, and you also have the option here to hide the bar, the status bar on lock screen, or just hide it everywhere. So you can actually use this tweak to hide the status bar, so you don't have to use movable 9 to hide the elements up there. You can just use this tweak to completely hide the status bar everywhere. Next up is a tweak called Marrows, and you guys know I'm OCD, so I'm in love with this tweak. It's something super simple that probably 90% of you never even noticed, but it changes the direction of the arrows here in the Mail application. So by default in iOS, the arrows here are left and right, but with this tweak, it changes it to up and down. I don't know why Apple decided to put left and right arrows, but up and down just makes so much more sense, since you're basically going down a list when you want to go to the next email. Next up is translucent messages, and that's how I have this awesome background inside of my Messages application. Basically just takes the background and blurs it for a really clean look. And just to note, this does not work if you have dark messages enabled, so make sure to disable that or delete that before installing this tweak. Next up is translucent Cydia, and this does the exact same thing, except for in Cydia, you can see it has the translucent background right there on the install screen inside of Cydia, because nobody wants to look at just a black screen. Next up is Imperial, and this gives you custom suggested applications when you go into your app switcher. So as you can see down there in the app switcher at the very bottom, we have Cydia, which is the suggested application. If we go ahead and swipe and drag up on Cydia, you can see it brings up Cydia just like that. It also works on the lock screen as well. So if we go back to the lock screen, you can see down there in the bottom left, we have the Cydia icon. If we go into the settings here, you can see that we have the kill switch, we have override Apple suggestions, you have show in lock screen, and also show in multitasking. You can also change the suggestion name, which changes the bottom name. By default, it's Imperial. You can change it to whatever you want. Then you can go to select application if you want a select application to be down there at all times. Next up is Nest 10, and this allows you to nest folders, which means you can basically just add folders and make folders inside of folders. One thing to note though is that you can't move a folder inside of a folder. You just have to make the new folders while you're already in that folder. Next up is Music Mark, and this marks the spot on the song you were just listening to, and it remembers that so that the next time you go to that song, it starts playing from that spot. So as you can see here, I'm on 1 minute and 31 seconds on this song. If I go to the next song, you can see it starts at 0, but if I go back, you can see this song starts again where I just left it off at 1:31. This is really convenient if you respring your device and you want to keep playing the song from where you left it off, or if you reboot your device, this is a great way to do that. But obviously it can get annoying if you go through like a whole playlist and every single song starts off like in the middle of the song. It can get annoying for that reason. So just use it, if you have a use for it, you can go ahead and download this tweak again. It's called Music Mark. Next up is phone in. As you can see, when I start typing in a number, you can see we don't have the backspace button up there or the X button up there where the numbers are. So it just cleans up the whole look of the phone application, especially in the keypad section. And the final tweak is one that most of you probably already know about, but if not, it is lock HTML. I get so many questions on this all the time. People always ask me what's the best lock screen tweak, and I always tell them it's lock HTML. So that's also what allowed me to hide some of the lock screen elements like the clock, the unlock text, the try again text. You can see you have all these elements you can hide on the lock screen. You also have a custom lock screen timeout. As you can see, mine set at 2 minutes. That means my screen will not dim from the lock screen for 2 minutes. And if you go into the advanced section here, you have a set widget coordinates, which will definitely come in handy when you start getting a little bit more technical with the widgets you install. I also have a name of this lock screen widget right here in the repo to get it from, and that same repo is where I recommend you get all of your widgets from for lock HTML. So there you have it, guys. Those are 31 more awesome tweaks compatible with the iOS 10 to 10.2 Yalu jailbreak. Lastly, I want to give a shout out to Tommy, who was the top donator in tonight's live stream. I do these live streams every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, if you didn't know, so make sure to come out next Friday night if you don't have any plans. I also have a list of some of the other supporters that supported me in that live stream as well down in the description below. And fun fact, I actually streamed this whole video while live streaming, so everybody in the live stream right now actually watched me actually record this video you're watching right now, which is pretty cool. They got to see a behind the scenes look, all the bloopers and everything I didn't edit. So if you want to get notified when I do some fun stuff like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get notified when I do some streams, some, sporadic streams, random streams like this. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And again, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Hey, don't say I'm choking. I'm not Curry. I'm not the Warriors.